Welcome to Scorpio Soul Time. This is my esoteric journey where I am consistently learning progress over perfection. I have found a love for learning astrology and tarot, and I'd like you to be able to share these same qualities and learning experiences for your own life to better your everyday world. So today we are talking about the Cancer new moon solar eclipse, which is happening at 3:16 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, July 2nd, 2019. It is occurring at 10 degrees and 37 minutes, and anytime the minutes are over 30, we round up to the next degree, so we could say that it is Cancer at 11 degrees. If you haven't yet, please sign up for my subscriptions of Scorpio Soul Time. That way you will be alerted every time I post a new video. I do new videos every new moon and full moon cycles because I feel like those are the ones that are the most impactful in our kind of everyday world, but helping us understand the energies and why we're feeling certain ways and why we are experiencing different type of events in our life. So please hit the bell in the below subscription area, and I will be ever so grateful if you share my channel with your friends and family and your social channels. So let's get into the Cancer new moon solar eclipse cycle. I don't know about you, but I can really feel the shift coming on. I think that anytime you are in an eclipse season where you're ending one and going into another, you can definitely feel not only a shift in energy, but maybe a shift in the way you view things, maybe a shift in the way people are reacting to certain situations around you. And I definitely can see how the first eclipse season of this year started on January 4th, 2019. And so that cycle is coming to an end, and we are starting this one with the solar eclipse, and then the lunar eclipse will actually be in Capricorn on July 17th. So if you haven't watched my Cancer season video, I invite you to please look at that because it focuses on all of the qualities of Cancer. And those qualities of Cancer have to do with your home life, your family, anything that you hold personally dear to you. So this could be close relationships, acquaintances, but it can also just be how you view your emotions, because Cancer is a water sign, right? It is the sign of the crab, and it is the water sign that deals with like your first emotions and interpersonal feelings that you ever experienced when you were born. Shows this oracle card number 12 for change. And it actually says the frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. So I think that that is a perfect way to start this new eclipse season, because change is inevitable, right? And I think the only way that we will actually evolve into better versions of ourselves is to change. And so at this new moon cycle solar eclipse, I invite you to look inside yourself and find what areas of your life are you ready for. Oh, look, prosperity just jumped out. Which areas of your life are you looking not only for change, but for growth? Because I think that's another, none of us really enjoy the process of change, but then after we go through it, we're like, you know what? I'm kind of glad that, I went through that. So I think today we are going to think of ways that we would like this next 6 months forward. So from now until the next solar eclipse cycle. So in December or early January, I believe, is going to be the next solar eclipse cycle and lunar eclipse cycle. So think of what in your life you are trying to change, because I think that what is also very interesting about the eclipses is that they often bring not only change, but they also bring highlights of what may have been hidden before. So since the new moon is dark, it can also mean that something that you need to end and then begin is going to become evident in this eclipse cycle. So I already see prosperity jumped out, and we're just going to do a past, a present, and a future. And I love using these oracle cards because they help us understand exactly what the energies are for us to learn. Okay, so it sounds like, and it looks like, the overall energy is going to be for prosperity, number 36. And this prosperity says, the frequency of prosperity supports our feeling of well-being by allowing the inclusion of everything that makes our body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit sing. It invites us to express ourselves in joy and celebration of the abundance and riches that the universe provides. And I think that anytime you are going within, especially during Cancer season, you are really trying to hone in on what areas of your personal self do you want to prosper, right? Prosperity can mean, obviously, money and resources, but on a very simple level, prosperity can just mean you are trying to improve your world around you. You're trying to improve yourself. And so I think in this solar eclipse cycle, the universe is trying to explain that use your Cancer energy to really find what areas of your life do you want to improve? Do you want to prosper? Because there is so much new growth that is ready and abundant for you. But if you don't step into that change and you don't accept that new feeling around you, then you're not going to prosper. And so I think that that's what this overall energy of prosperity is telling us, is that we all need to embrace the change as we move into this Cancer new moon eclipse cycle. So in the past, we have remembrance, which totally makes sense, remembrance. Divine feminine is for the present. And I think that's interesting as it aligns with the Cancer, because Cancer has to also, it's ruled by the moon. So the divine feminine, the moon is always related to the feminine, and the sun is relating to the masculine. So this makes sense that the divine feminine is in the present, and then allowance is in our future. So let's look at each one separately. So in the past, we have remembrance. And remembrance says the frequency of remembrance supports our memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul in body, providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully within in this life. So I think in remembrance, I like to think of this as you have gone through a cycle from January to now, and there has to be certain situations, people, events that have occurred that you were supposed to learn from. And I know personally for myself, if you've watched Scorpio Soul Time in the past, I've been sharing with you kind of like my struggle, if you will, for finding kind of like the right career, the right job. And I think throughout the different months, I went through some different experiences that I was just like, you know what? I'm never going to find the right job. Like either I didn't gel with the people, or I didn't gel with the task at hand, or I just wasn't really resonating with any of the places that I was going. And so recently, in this last cycle that I was really excited about, this last, let's see, I guess that would have been the full moon in Sagittarius, I actually started a new job and I'm really enjoying it. And it is something that I wouldn't have thought that I would have enjoyed just because it's not strictly architecture. It's more in a design field, but it's also really working with the public, which I really enjoy. And so I think I bring that example up is remembrance is telling you in your past, think of the things that have been helpful to you, but then what things you can kind of shed away and release and move on to your new abundant cycle. Because I think that when you're talking about Cancer, it's the emotional side of us, right? So we all remember things, but we don't always learn from what we remember. And I think this remembrance is really saying, use your memories in good ways, but don't hold on to them so much that they stifle you from change, moving into your next version of yourself. So the current position for Divine Feminine says, the frequency of Divine Feminine supports our receptive, nurturing, and soft side, allowing it to express itself openly and helping us to connect to our intrinsic understanding of our connection to all of creation. And I love how it has these soft colors because we always kind of relate those pinks and oranges and yellows to the Divine Feminine, right? And I think in this cycle that we are starting with this solar eclipse, remember the new moon is supposed to be all about initiating new things. And Cancer is all about the motherly instincts that we all have, but it's also about embracing those things that we kind of want to nurture. So this can be your health. It can be your relationships that you have with yourself. Back in the Cancer video, we talk about self-care. So this can be everything from, new exercise routines to maybe taking a closer look at your health in general. Are you drinking enough water during this summer season? Are you getting up from your desk at work and making sure you maybe get some fresh air at lunch instead of just sitting on your cell phone or sitting at your computer? Those type of self-care and nurturing themes are going to be really strong during this solar eclipse, because Cancer is really asking you to not only nurture your people around you or your family, but nurture yourself. Because if you can't make sure that you're healthy, then you're not going to be able to give off positive energy to those around you. So I think in this Cancer season with this present, this Divine Feminine is asking you to look at yourself and find what ways can you nurture those qualities that you want to take into these next 6 months. And nurturing can also be maybe you have new creative ideas of what you want to start, but you're not quite sure how to start them. So this can be everything from maybe in your daily life, you're like, you know what? I need to spend more time with my children. They're getting older. On the weekends, sometimes we all just kind of just sit around the TV and we don't do anything. Maybe we should all get out and take a new hobby up, or we all start doing a pottery class together, or we all, take the Frisbee and go to the park. I used to love that with my dad and sister. Like every weekend we would try to find something outdoorsy to do. So from flying a kite, I don't think I've ever flown a kite with my daughter. So now that we just had this conversation, that's one thing that I really enjoyed, was flying a kite, finding a big field, flying a kite with my dad and my mom. So just think of that in this Cancer season, how to really take your Divine Feminine side of you and nurture yourself and nurture those around you. The future is allowance. The frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way, without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion. And allowance, what I love about this one is the green, because to me that means fertileness and it means abundance. And I think that that ties in nicely with the prosperity, which was the overarching theme that fell out. Because in the future, in these next 6 months, the universe is telling you this is the start of a brand new cycle for you. The ability to allow change, but also allow yourself to feel differently. I think in our society, we're always like, well, that's not really the way I've done things in the past, so I'm kind of afraid to do it. So I'm just going to stick doing what I've been doing because that's the familiar. That's what I've done for so long. But the minute that you are thrown into having to change and you allow for the universe to take hold, that's usually when we see the most abundant and growth-filled experiences in our life, right? And I think that about many things in my life, like looking back, especially like when I went to college. I think there were so many experiences that I was like, okay, this is not going to be fun. I'm not going to enjoy this class. But then you have to do it, right? If you want to get the degree, you have to take the classes that are required. But then at the end, when I look back on it, there are still some classes that I look back today and I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that I learned this. I'm glad that back in, whatever year, I literally had to sit and learn how people interact with their community and their environment in order to help them build, better communities in my architecture and design world. So I'm just saying that in the future, during this cycle, remember, the new moon is really wanting you to almost have a new, I'm calling it a new mini new year. At New Year's when January rolls around and you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to set all these goals, I'm going to, get healthier, I'm going to get organized. We have all these New Year's resolutions. I kind of feel like that's what this new moon solar eclipse is asking you to do. Instead of waiting until 2020 to start something new, do it now. You've had 6 months. Look back on those resolutions that you set forth in January 2019 of this year. How many of them did you accomplish? How many of them don't really resonate with you anymore? Because I feel like this new moon is like, it's time to start new beginnings. This solar eclipse is going to give you a boost to anything personal, anything that you are like wanting to get started, and maybe you didn't know the information you do now, and so the universe is saying in the future, allow new ideas to come in, allow yourself to really feel excited about growth and change. And so in this solar eclipse, I want you to really take this all in. The prosperity for your life is going to be there, but you're going to have to allow it to be there. You're going to have to use some memories from the past, but figure out what didn't work for you and what did, and then move into this Cancer. Use that Cancer energy to really hone into your divine feminine and figure out what ways can you nurture yourself, nurture those around you, to be able to allow for the abundance to come in, but also for you to think of how can this next 6 months be better than the last 6 months? What did you learn in the past that you can use in the future, and what can you let go of from the past so that you can allow the prosperity to come in? So I think this reading is really in sync with this new moon solar eclipse in Cancer cycle, because Trust me, you are going to be amazed at how different you feel as you move through this season, because July is a big month. I mean, we have 2 eclipses, and that means a lot of change. That means a lot of growth. And remember, change is not always going to be a comfortable thing. With all the eclipses going on, the change that we experience may not feel good. I'm just going to be honest. And I think that I kind of struggled with just the change within myself over these past couple of months, because I've just been like, I don't really want to start a new career, but maybe I should. And I've just been kind of like going back and forth with myself. And now that I've stepped into this new version of myself, I'm seeing that I was really holding myself back from a lot of things that could have maybe happened in the past, but I wasn't ready for it, and I think that's what this allowance is really signifying, is that even though you might not think you're ready for it, if the universe presents these situations to you, go within yourself, nurture yourself to realize that prosperity is really there for you. You just have to be willing to change and be willing to take in this Cancer energy to nurture yourself and nurture those around you to allow for that abundance to come in. So I'm really excited for this. I'm just going to call it a mini new year. I'm excited for this mini new year to set new resolutions, new ideas for this next 6 months ahead. And I hope you do the same. I appreciate you joining me today on Scorpio Soul Time. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment below. I would love if you shared, liked, and subscribed, and I will see you next time on Scorpio Soul Time.